Good morning, everyone. This is Ida with Created to Create. I'm sorry this video has taken so long, guys. I've really been under the weather, and I have recorded it a couple of times, and it just hasn't, there's always been an issue with the video, so I have had to delete them and redo them. So some of the steps I've already done, so I'm going to have to just kind of, walk you through them and hopefully give you the best idea on how to put it together. Because the other ones were step by step as I was putting it together, but the video just wasn't good. There was always something wrong with it. So let's get started. This again is part 2, and you are going to need like a heavy duty trimmer, and then you're going to need one of these, the ones that are made just to cut paper. And I use the one that's by Cricut, but there is a Fiskars as well that's pretty good. So whichever one you decide to use, but this is the one that I use. Now, you're going to need I'm going to show you how to make this, the shelf to it, because mine, like I said, mine are already put together, but you will see how it comes together because mine is already put together, but I'm going to kind of walk you through it. So what we're making is the bottom tier of this ribbon organizer and the middle one. So you're going to need 2 of these. So I'm going to show you the process once, and of course you're going to have to make 2 of them. So I'm going to remove this and get started. So you're going to need a piece of chipboard, a sheet that measures 8.5 by 11. Those are the ones that I use. And you're going to cut it. Let me see if I can put this where you can see the edge right here. You're going to cut it at, I believe it's 6.5 inches. You're going to cut it at 6.5 inches. And you are going to have a little strip like this left. Put that aside because that, that's not going to go to waste. You are going to use it for something. And so we're going to set that aside. And I'm going to remove this because I don't need this for the minute. Because I've already cut this. Now you're going to take out your paper trimmer. Your one that's made only for paper. And you're going to, I'm going to call it score, but it's actually cutting. And you're not cutting too much, but it doesn't cut all the way through. It just kind of scores. So we're going to move it to the 1-inch mark. We're going to cut it to the 1-inch mark. And we're going to cut, like we're cutting paper. You are going to apply pressure because you wanted to cut some. And then we're going to move it to, oh, I think I messed up, you guys. Hold on real quick. Hold on real quick. I think I'm doing the top one here, but if I have to start over, no, it's right. You're going to score at 1, and then you're going to move it to 5 inches. And you're going to do the same thing. And then you're going to move it to 5 3/4, right there. You're going to repeat the same step. And then the last one is going to be at 6. So there it is. And I'm going to show you what you get. And forgive me, guys, if I sniffle or I cough. It just can't be helped. So what this does pre-cut this a little bit, but it doesn't cut all the way through. So when I fold my score lines, it's still attached. My cut lines, the piece is still attached because it didn't cut all the way through. And that's what you wanted to do. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. You're going to bend that cut that you did, and the 1/2 inch one, and then the 1/4 inch one as well. So you're going to have to train these little cuts. Now, I'm not going to put this one together because I already have one put together. But I am going to explain to you what to do and show you what it's supposed to look like. Okay, make sure you bend this too as well. So once you have this done, take your glue. And what I use for mine is the Beacon 3-in-1. To hold it in place. I wouldn't recommend hot glue because you don't want any lumps. So, and when that cools, it kind of leaves lumps. Add a bit of glue right here to the edge of your paper, to the very edge, all the way to the very end. And what you're going to do is you're going to hold it for a minute like this until it dries. And what you don't want this little piece right here, the the wider of the piece, you don't want it to be straight up. You want it to be angled a little bit back, because that's where we're going to put our ribbon with the measurements on it. And I think that when it's straight up, it's harder to see versus when it's at an angle. I think you get a better view of it. So you're going to hold it there until it dries. And then what that's going to look like is, like this. See how it's angled? And then here's the little 1/4 inch mark, and then the other 1/2 inch, and then of course the rest and the back. Just pretend like these sides aren't here for now. After you do that, you're going to need 1 piece of designer paper, whatever paper you want. It doesn't matter, that measures 8.5 by 11. You need the full sheet to wrap around this, to cover up this this strip. And then you're going to need another little strip to go back here that measures 4 inches by 11. So you're going to need a full sheet and then another 4-inch strip by 11. So go ahead and wrap your paper after you've glued that down, making sure to burnish, burnish the side right here, to burnish this little 1/4 inch ledge we have here, and then to burnish right in here. I would recommend that you add glue right where the fold is. That way the paper adheres really well there and it doesn't come undone or pulled away. And you want to make sure that you burnish everything. And then of course in this little crease as well. And then what I did when I put glue on the side here, I kind of turned it on its side and burnished that as well, to make sure everything was, like, I didn't spread it out and put paper over it, then try to fold it, because it doesn't work. Your paper is going to kind of bubble up and come unglued from the side. So you have to train your paper to follow the shape that you want your shelf to be, which is exactly like I showed you. This already curved around, and this piece coming straight up, which is the inch cut, coming straight up, because this is where we're going to put our rolls of lace, trim ribbon, and it's not going to roll to the back. So make sure that this is folded up when you go to glue the paper, and hold it up like this to burnish it. And then of course you're going to do add glue and glue it down. And I would say do the same. Put it back down like this and burnish it again, because you're still applying pressure to the bottom. And then you'll have a little, like a 1/4 inch here. Go ahead and glue that down as well and burnish it nice, very well. Make sure it's glued all the way down. And then you're going to cut your little strip of 4 inches by 11, and you're going to adhere that to the back. But before you do that, before you adhere this piece in the back, I'm going to show you how I did the sides here. Now, to do the sides, like I said, mine was already done, and I've recorded it too many times, guys, to continue cutting and doing it again. You'd be surprised how many shelves I have over there. To do this piece right here, use one of the scraps that you have of the chipboard. So don't throw any of the chipboard away. And what I did to get my side, I actually just lined this. I lined up a little piece of chipboard. Kind of held it in place. I held it up flush with my shelf right here. And then I took a pencil. Let me grab a pencil really quick. About your lights, guys. I hope that they're working out. And I almost tripped on it. I took a pencil and I held my piece right here. And I marked right here. And then I marked this piece right here. This little ledge. And I marked that going all the way from the ledge right here, going all the way down. And here, I'm going to mark this. Let's pretend we're doing this one, so I can actually show you. So there are my marks. You can see them very lightly. I hope you can see them. It is right here, curving down, and then right here. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my paper trimmer. I'm going to take this paper trimmer, and I'm going to line up. See the mark right there? I'm going to line up that mark, and I'm going to line up not the bottom, but where that little ledge is. That's where you want to line it up. And then you're going to put you're going to cut it. You're pre-score it. Now this piece, you are going to have to take your scissors to it because we're going to cut it all the way. So I'm going to just bend it like this, kind of break the fibers and work my scissors right there in where the mark is. And I'm going to cut it all the way to the end, and I'm going to just follow that, like it's already pre-cut, so all I have to do is follow that. So that gives me this piece. And don't discard this if it's big enough to do the other side, because you're going to have to do both sides. So you see my mark. I hope you can see the mark right here. Let me darken it so you can see it. This mark right here is the front of that little shelf. So I'm going to take my scissors, and I am going to follow that cut and kind of just, curve it a little bit. There's the piece. And you're going to want to cover the inside. What's going to be facing the inside of the shelf, you're going to want to cover it in designer paper. All you're going to do is add glue here. Let's say I'm going to use this. I would add glue there. And then I would take my piece of paper right here, and I would glue it there, right? And then I would flip it around and just trim around the perimeter. That way the inside is covered. So let's pretend this piece is covered. Or maybe better yet, maybe let me find just a little scrap. And no, it's not big enough. Okay, let's pretend that this one is already covered and it's ready to go on one side. And you're going to do that to both sides. But remember, these pieces have to be different because one's on one side and one is the other side. So make sure you pay attention which side you need to cover on your chipboard. So make sure that the insides are the ones that are covered. So after that's covered, you're going to take a strip of paper, and I have one right here already, and you're going to take your little piece and push it all the way to the end. And you're going to cut your paper right there. And this is only 1 inch wide. This piece is 1 inch wide. And now I'm going to take my scoreboard. I'm going to take my scoreboard. And I'm going to score at the 1/2 inch mark. And this, what I'm doing here, is I'm making a hinge to hold, so it will give me better grip and easier to align when I go to glue it on the side of my my box. So this is already scored. I'm just going to fold it in half. Let me see where my bone folder is, right here. And I'm just gonna fold it, guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some glue, and I'm not going to glue it down. I'm just going to, well, you know what? I am going to glue it down, even if I have to throw it away. And I'm not going to make good contact because this glue is almost empty. But, hopefully it'll be enough to show you. I would rather show you than tell you. So let's pretend this is already covered up with paper. And this is the inside that's going to go in this side is going to be the inside that's going to go in the box. So I'm going to flip this down. So the paper side up. This is pointing this way, and that depends on what side you're doing, guys. So pay attention to what side you're doing, because I would hate for you to have to do what I did and redo it again or use the wrong side. And now I'm just going to glue this down. Whoops. Hopefully yours won't move like the way mine did. Try not to let it move. And I'm butting it up right up against the score mark. I want it to be right up against the score mark, and I'm going to burnish it. I'm going to burnish it, and after I've burnished it, see this little piece that's sticking out? I'm going to go ahead and cut that away because I don't need that to be seen. Now, I will tell you one thing that I did before I even made my shelf, before I even added paper to my sides. I did take some paint, some off-white colored paint, and I painted the edge of my piece so you couldn't see the craft color. You don't have to, but I chose to, and I think it looks a little bit more clean. Everything blends in more seamlessly. So after I did that, pretend like I said that this is covered, I added my little hinge, and I want that little hinge to be facing the inside, because this little hinge is going to help me glue this piece in place, not just give it durability and strength, but to line it up as well. So you're going to take your piece of, I think I have one that doesn't have a side on it. You're going to take your shelf that you did, and let's pretend the sides are not on there. And you're going to go around the little perimeter. Let me show you with the other one. You're going to go, let's pretend this is glued down, and this shelf is up, and it's already covered in paper. Let me see if I can hold it. Anyway, you're going to follow, you're going to put glue. Am I in frame? You're going to follow this line, the shape of your, and you're going to go up the little triangle and come back down. So this is the only place you want glue. Here, across here, and following the shape of this little triangle right here. And then you're going to flip it to the back, and you are going to add glue right here, because your hinge is going to adhere there. That's what you want. And the hinge helps you line up. See, as long as the hinge is centered, you're good to go. And that kind of keeps your sides, you know, staying glued. But you are going to have to hold it for a little bit, you know, for it to glue down, and make sure these sides are nice and glued down. And that's all there is to it, guys. This is how you do the sides on the box. And I think you can see what I'm doing right here. But if I were to tilt it, you would get a better view. That's the way the side looks. It's glued down right there. And it doesn't go above, it goes underneath. That's what the little strip that we put on there is for. To help you line up, and for it not to, for it to give it more strength, give your shelves more strength. So you're going to do that on either side of your trays. And you need to times that by 2. You need 2 of these trays. So I'm going to show you mine. Actually, I can't show you both of mine because I already put them on my shelf. Let me show you my shelf. And let me move this. So you're going to need 2 of these. And after you've done that, then you can go ahead and add your piece to the back, because then it reaches all the way and kind of covers those hinges that you just added. So that's why I said do the hinges first and then cover your back piece to kind of give it that finished look. I hope that I'm explaining it right, guys, but I just, like I said, I've been feeling under the weather, and I have a bunch of pieces cut out and have recorded several times, and I just can't get it done, and I don't want you guys waiting on me to feel better, because during allergy season, I really get bad on, you know, my allergies are bad. So anyway, here's the front. I hope you can see. Here's one shelf. Here is the other one. Let me show you the inside. See right there? See that little piece that we added there? That's where I added the glue, on the outside of the box, because when I add the sides to it, you know, it's going to give it more support. It's going to be easier to glue versus if I didn't have a side and then all I did was add glue to just the shelf without the siding. It wouldn't be very strong. It wouldn't be very durable. Even though I did my other one like that, I did add metal feet to help it, and, you know, stay in place and not mess up. And even on my second shelf, even though I didn't do this piece on my first one, whenever we continue working on a project, we kind of make it better. Not perfect, but, you know, better. And the reason I'm doing this tutorial is because I think that this is a piece that's very practical and functional. And I think we all have the same issues with ribbon holders. Now, if you decide not to put the side and you want to give it a cleaner look like my other one, I can recommend 2 things. Like here, I use the same paper as the inside of my side on this side, so it would blend in a little bit more seamlessly. But to be quite honest, when you have it full of ribbon, it's not going to show. Really, it's not going to show. But if I were to opt with my other one, like the other one I didn't add the sides, I got a metal piece and I bent it in half, and I adhered it to the bottom of the shelf and the side of my ribbon holder to kind of give it like a little lip for the shelf to, like a support, like a little L shape to support my shelf. That's what I did with my other one because I like things to last. So I'm going to set this aside and just explain to you a little bit better on how you're going to glue this. You would add glue to here. See, even though the strip is here, guys, it doesn't matter because this is going to be glued to the side of your ribbon organizer and it's not going to show. So what I did here, I added the glue here. This gives me a wider area in which to add glue and give it more support. And that's how I adhered the that piece. I added glue there, and then all I did was put it together like this, and kind of, I would say put some kind of clip or something to hold it for a little bit, so it will dry. And then I did the same thing on the other side. You can do both at the same time, but I only have one side to show you because, like I said, I already put my box together, and I was trying to do step by step. But you would have two of these sides. One would adhere here, and the other one would adhere right here on the other side. And that would be your bottom shelf. Your second one, you would build it the same. The only difference is, let me see if I have my pieces up here. I think I do. I cut 2 little pieces of chipboard. Let me see if I can find them because I tried to save them. And I don't know what I did with them. I might have thrown them away, guys. Nope, here they are. When I went to put in my second shelf, to glue my second shelf on my project, I cut 2 pieces of chipboard that would fit in the inside this little tray. If they're too wide, they're not going to fit. You want them to fit inside the tray. And I cut these 4.5 inches long. 4 3/4 inches long, I'm sorry. And you can adjust depending on how high you want your shelf. I measured mine to be 4 3/4 inches high. And I put one on this side, and I put one on the other side right here. And just pretend this one has a side. So what happens to this, when I go to put my second shelf in, it has something to fall on. See, it's stuck right there. I can't go any further down because it's hitting that little piece right there, and they measure exactly the same. So that means that my shelf is going to be level and it's going to be straight because I gave it something to fall on. I didn't glue it on here. You can put a paper clip, you can put a bull clip, you can put whatever you want to hold it in place, but I didn't glue it because I'm going to remove this. This is just a temporary kind of like lip for my shelf to fall on until the glue dries. That's all it is. And that's what helped me to keep my shelf level, straight, at the same height, and it was easier. You know, I didn't have to try and mark anything or anything. I gave myself, you could say, a little template or a shim that would hold my shelf where I wanted it to be. And I think you guys get it. But I did put one on either side and clip them. I didn't clip mine, but you can. I think it's easier if you clip them. That way they don't move. Or use a temporary glue dot or whatever. Whatever works for you. But that's what you want to do. And that's how you're going to install the first shelf and the second shelf. Now, we're going to work on the third one. And hopefully, like I said, that I explained this correctly to you. When you work on not the third shelf, which it's the top, well, it is the third one. It's the top shelf. That's going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to stop this video here and just kind of explain to you, show you the box. So remember, if I were to take, what did I do with them? If I were to take these 2 little pieces of chipboard, I'll show you that they fit flush in here, and that's what I used as my guide of how far I wanted my shelf to be, the space between my bottom shelf and my second shelf. And all I did again, I added glue to these sides. I added glue to the sides on both sides, and I would recommend that you slide it in through the back because if you notice, it's more narrow. It's tapered down. See, it gets wider back here and tapers down here. And if you slide it through the back and you get glue on the sides of your paper, on your box, the sides of your ribbon holder, it doesn't matter, because by the time you slide this all the way in, or you can actually just pull these apart a little bit too, because you don't want to make a mess with your glue. You don't want your glue getting all on the inside of your box. So anyway, I would recommend slide it in through the back. That way, even though it's smearing glue on the side of your box, it will be covered up when it gets to this bigger portion. You understand what I'm saying? So just instead of pushing it in through here, I would actually go from behind and put it in place. That way, if I got glue anywhere, it would be covered up with the thicker side. That's the only other tip I can give you on that. So thanks for watching, you guys. Hopefully this came out right and I can release this video, and I am going to release one, and then you might have to wait a little bit for 3, but we're well on our way. We're well on our way. We have one more short one to go and we'll be done. I hope that you guys try this. And if you do make one and you do a video, I would love to see your project share, or whatever you decide. You know, sometimes somebody else has another idea to make it easier. You know, and if you have that idea, definitely share it with us. But, you know, this is the way I create, and this is the way my mind thinks. And I try to come up with a solution to make it easier for everyone. If I struggle with something, I try to find an easier solution before I show somebody else how to do it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope everyone has a great day, and God bless. Bye.